Hello everyone and welcome to the video. This is my build of the French Battleship Richelieu from Trumpeter, and we will top it off with a Flyhawk Detail kit, a Pontos wooden deck, brass barrels from Masters, and use Trumpeter Richelieu 3D drawing book as a loose reference. We will also use some micro LEDs to light things up a little bit. But before we start with the build, I have a question to you guys. For which 1350 ship model would you like to see a YouTube video about? Because, well, as you can see, I have a bit of a collection. So what would be interesting to build? Maybe a Massachusetts? Haven't seen many of those. A Nagato? Congo? Maybe an Arizona or Missouri. The O class I reviewed, an H class or a Tirpitz. Maybe a Polar, a Prince Eugen, Scharnhorst from Dragon, a Roma, or maybe a Hippo, or again a Prince Eugen, maybe even the Prince of Wales, or a Graf Zeppelin, maybe an HMS Belfast, or a Hood, or a Taiho. And as you can see, all of these ships have some sort of detail upgrade kit. This, for example, is for the Graf Zeppelin from Infinity. So, what is it? What will be interesting to build, which has never been seen on YouTube before? And something that would be slot in between my two next projects. A Graf Spey and an Arsolet Montpellier camo. What do you think? Unfortunately, some of the video files got corrupted and eventually lost, so it will be more of a slideshow towards the end, and I'm truly sorry about this. Anyways, let's start this build with the hull. The hull is molded in one piece and not divided for a possible waterline display, but we still have some work to do. Start by removing the injection pins and the seam line at the bottom of the hull. The forward hose pipe, which you can see here, has to be flattened and drilled out. While dry fitting the deck, I noticed the hull is too wide towards the aft, and the deck falls through. So I installed support struts to pull the hull together. Next, I drill out the fair leads. It's not too much effort for a satisfying result. I also drill out the portholes on the hull, so the lighting can take effect. After painting, I use micro crystal clear to fill the portholes and all the other windows to imitate glass. Next, I drill a hole into the bottom, so I can glue in a connector to feed electricity to the circuit board and LEDs inside. And the light switch will be installed in the display stand. First, the propeller shafts. I use the self-putty to close the gaps. And after the putty dried, I sand the edges smooth. Next, we remove the plastic anchor chains and the chain intakes of the forecastle, which will be replaced with PE. Starting off with the anchors. A considerable update to the plastic ones. I drilled out the hose pipes and placed the PE intakes on top. The anchor connectors are removed and glued into the hose pipes. Then I cut a polystyrene sheet to cover up the underside of the hose pipes to prevent any light shining through from below. I also removed the plastic anchor chain on the aft deck. The decks are rounded up by placing all kinds of photo edge hatches. Next up is the barbette of the super firing turret. I cut out all the walls and glued them with Tamiya cement and used clamps to hold them in place. Also drill out the portholes for lighting. I sand down the corners of the superstructure according to the reference book and then proceed to drill out the windows. This plastic walk needs to be removed and replaced with PE. So I cut away and sand things smooth. Here I wrap wire around a brass rod to imitate a cable drum. Not great, not terrible. Next up, the 380mm main guns. These are a bit of a letdown in my eyes. They have no surface details whatsoever, even the leather imitation in the front isn't so great. Also the gun mounts are too close together and the turret itself is too narrow. The gun turrets in the reference book have visible seam lines between the armor plates, which I tried to imitate on the kit turrets. I would say my job was half decent, but not satisfying. In the end, I cut my losses and decided to get 3D printed turrets instead. And these bad boys were worth the price. They look way more like the originals and have some armor texture, which will be a nice upgrade for the kit. Here I drill out the center of the original bottom plate of the turrets, which I need to fix the 3D turrets in place. We also need a magnet, a small nail, the bottom of the plate and the turret. Then I glue the magnet on the bottom side of the center plate. and glued a nail in the bottom of the turret. So, the idea is, since the 3D printed turret doesn't center and hold itself in place, and will just slide off of the barbette, we will put the original center plate with the magnet into the barbette and then put the turret on top. This way, the turret is centered and will stay in place, but we can still rotate the whole turret. Next, I removed the flimsy barrels of the printed turret and replaced them with metal ones. I use a model knife to get a small hole into the center of the blast bags to guide the drill. Then I glued the metal barrels into place, which I had to shorten because they were meant for the option without blast bags. We finish the turrets with a few PE pieces. The kit's 152mm secondary guns didn't fare much better. The turrets themselves don't have much details and the gun barrels look very clunky. So I also opted for 3D printed ones. They had a little bit of building required. I had to glue the rangefinders on each turret and the anti-air nests for the center turret, which I left separate for painting. Again, they are a big upgrade to the overall build. Much more details, like armored doors on the back, and the texture of the 3D print gives them some heavy armored look. The comparison speaks for itself. Of course, I replaced the barrels with brass barrels once again, because the 3D printed ones were already slightly bent. The 100mm secondary guns of the kit are rather nice, so there was no need to replace them. But I replaced the plastic gun barrels with brass ones, provided by the Flyhawk kit. And here you can see me struggling to assemble the gun mount, but it did surrender eventually. Richelieu doesn't have much superstructure compared to the likes of Bismarck, for example, but what is there gets some extensive work. We start by adding the walls. After cleaning the parts, we glue them into place and make sure we have a clean fit. Then I cut off only the hinges of the armored doors and later glue the PE doors on them. This ladder has to go as well. These plastic cradles for the boats also had to be cut off, but I tried to keep the bottom line intact. Since this part will also be illuminated, the portholes had to be drilled open. With polystyrene stripes, I close off all sections which get lights, to concentrate the illumination in these specific areas and hopefully prevent light pollution. We move on to the main superstructure. Same story. Cut it, glue it and free the portholes. There are two big gaps on each side of the superstructure when placed on the deck. We have to close them. So again, I used polystyrene stripes and glued them into the gap and cut them to shape. There's also an open wall in this part, which doesn't only look dumb, but looking at a reference book, it should be closed. Or why else would be a door there? I got a bit tired of planning and thinking ahead of placing lights in superstructure, so I went and go ahead with the chimney. Less planning, more building. The inside of the chimney is painted black, so when you look inside, there won't be any bare plastic to see. Again, we have an opening on the side piece, which should also be closed and will easily be seen. Same procedure to close it. it's time to add the PE pieces to the chimney, starting things off with support struts for the anti-air and searchlight platforms. Next, I built a chimney cap out of PE parts and added some polystyrene on the backside. To 1, give the chimney more depth, and 2, it helps me center the part on the chimney. The backside is then also painted black. And then I add the rest of the PE parts. The photo edge really makes the chimney much more pleasant to look at. What do you think? Almost forgot the part behind the chimney. A platform with a rangefinder on top, which only get little of photo edge upgrades. Okay, now I have to face the music. We continue with the main superstructure. First, with the armored conning tower. I opened these armored view slits, or whatever they are called, so I can install an LED in between the pieces. I sprayed the inside black, in hopes the light won't be visible through the wall. A smart call, but me being an idiot, I forgot to blacken the inside of all the other superstructure pieces, which I will regret later. Then I put some putty into the gaps so the conning tower will look like one single piece. These sorry excuses of windows will entirely be replaced with photo etch. I needed to dry fit all the separate decks and not glue them in place. This was necessary for installing the LEDs and guide the wires, and also make it easier to add the photo edge on each part separately. While studying the reference book, I spotted these letters between the low decks, which are not indicated by Trumpeter nor the Flyhawk kit. So I cut openings in the decks where it was most convenient and used PE letters from leftovers of my Bismarck build. So this is what the kit version looks like out of the box. Thankfully, we will see the sorry state for the last time and begin transforming them with extensive photo etch. Let's start by removing all the bulky plastic. For all intents and purposes, I have absolutely no idea what the overhanging part is called, which I remove here. but it has to give away for photo edge parts. And here I realized I'm knee-deep into the PE hell. Lots of support struts for this part alone. I more or less drown each part in CA accelerator. The last touch-up is a radar antenna, which I broke off later into the build. Now these parts were extensive and really time consuming. I let the video do the talking. And I had to do this 4 times over for this part alone. And starting from here, I lost the remaining video files, but at least I have some pictures of my block left to show you. And I'm really sorry for this, and believe me, I'm also really disappointed that I lost all the remaining video material. Anyway, this is the last platform, also the biggest and most extensive to upgrade. Added some doors and ladders according to the reference book and where it does make sense. Added all the remaining doors to all superstructures. should be open with a door further inwards, so I had to modify the kit version. At this point there were only the smaller pieces left for the build. I started with the cranes. Here are the photo etch cradles for the smaller boat crafts. I decided to buy additional parts like resin searchlights, gun directors and brass barrels for the Bofors quad mounts, and observation equipment like binoculars and compass platforms. I put the searchlights together, drilled out the insides of the searchlight and put an LED inside and close it off with crystal clear liquid. For the camouflage and color, I decided to orient myself with this historical picture. That means I will went with this very whitish grey as main color for the ship. I started the painting process with all the decks and all the upward facing surfaces in Tamiya XF54 Dark Sea Grey. Then I sprayed the lower hull with Mr. Hobby Hull Red with a spray can, and I'm really surprised how good that worked out. Next step was to cover the upper hull in a whitish grey. The mixture for this was 80% XF2 flat white and 20% XF80 royal light grey. The masking for the camouflage took me some time, and after initial painting I had to do some touch-up works for the fading effect. For this dark grey I used Mr. Color Dark Sea Grey H331. From there on I worked my way upwards, deck by deck, so I could make sure that the camouflage aligns as I go on. Secondary turrets are finished. Result? Awesome. What do you think? This is also the point where Richelieu and some other projects could move into their new storage box. The starboard secondary turret is completely sprayed in Mr. Hobby Dark Sea Grey according to the historical pictures, and I would say a worthwhile upgrade to the kit turrets. Now I have to work my way up step by step with the superstructure. Next major superstructure piece was the chimney. And here are the finished main gun turrets. Well, almost finished. 3 ladders on the turret faces are still missing. Here we get to one of my favorite parts. Installing the electronic parts. They are one hell of an extra effort, but I just love having illuminated ships. First, I glued down 2 electric distributors, where I connect the larger LEDs for lighting the hull. Then I install the self-made circuit board, which is only an electric board with connectors and resistors. I essentially copied what I did on my Bismarck build. Maybe I do a separate video on that in the future. Okay, back to Richelieu. So we install the circuit board, which then connects to the 2 distributors. From here we can install the LEDs for the hull. I glued these larger LEDs on some support sticks so they are at the same height as the portholes. Here I installed the smaller LEDs before we glued the decks in place. We are on the finish line. Some last little things to add. In this case, the railing. The spent shell casing baskets. Add these plates forward. Put the superstructure together. And cover everything in VMS satin varnish. Last adjustments to the searchlights positions. And also add these two plates, which I'm not even trying to pronounce. And I nearly forgot about the mast on the chimney. Added the chains on the forecastle and all the deck fittings like wave breakers and splinter shields. Added the anchor chain and Bofors nests with their gun directors at the stern deck. And at last, the anti-air armament. The kit's quadruple Bofors gun mounts were lackluster at best, so I replaced them with photo etch and resin parts. And with 40 mounts, it took some time, but it's a big improvement compared to the kit ones. The Richelieu has 50 single anti-air gun mounts, and in no world am I building 50 pieces out of multiple photo etch and brass parts. So I abused my wallet once more and bought myself 50 3D printed Oerlikon 20mm AA guns. So I freed the AA guns from their supports and painted them together with the Bofors quad mounts. And will you look at that army of anti-air guns? We've reached the end of the build. I hope you don't mind the transition from video to slideshow too much. Thank you for watching, and maybe leave a comment down below of what do you think of the build and if you prefer videos with commentary or silent videos with text. Also let me know what battleship you would like to see next. And a big thank you to everyone who commented on my first video and to my first couple of subscribers. Guys, vielen Dank, have a nice day, and here is the review.